Hello everybody, this is Shockfactor 22 and I am here with this is another wrestling video, by the way. Before I get the "oh Shockfactor, you suck, you're a faggot," listen. Today I am being honest and I'm paying my respect to a wrestler who four or 5 years ago we lost, and his name is Christopher Michael Benoit. Now, as you guys know, Christopher Benoit was a former professional wrestler. Was signed with has worked with WWE, WCW, ECW, Japanese wrestling, the Heart Dungeon, all those places. Um, since everybody is currently doing this, let me sit down because I had. All right. Now, the reason why I am making this video today is because, as I said, 5 years, I believe it was 5 years ago today, we lost Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit was a very, very entertaining wrestler. He was known for that ruthless aggression. Some people call it toothless aggression because of his missing tooth. Benoit had it. He had an attitude that fitted him. He had an attitude. His character, while soft-spoken, was very, very aggressive and was intense. He had a a giant list of suplexes, a giant list of submissions, a giant list of top rope moves. He was it. He was a submission wrestler that was very, very entertaining. Now I had started watching wrestling somewhere between '06 and '07, and I watched this wrestler, Chris Benoit. I had no idea what he was about. Now Benoit, if I sneeze, I apologize, but when Benoit first appeared, when I first saw him, sorry, he was an amazing wrestler. He was one of the most entertaining guys watching wrestling to be a wrestler. Because back when I was younger, I used to believe wrestling was real. I understand now it's not as real. I mean, yeah, these guys are still hurting each other, but it's more controlled as much as it used to be. And Benoit was this guy who was very, very good. I enjoyed watching him wrestle. Um, I can't say nothing else. He was a great wrestler. Well, Vengeance 2007 was when it was sometime near Vengeance. I heard about the match between Benoit and CM Punk. CM Punk at that time was another good wrestler I liked. It wasn't until the Straight Edge Society gimmick where I hated it. But when Vengeance came around, I was thinking, oh god, Benoit and CM Punk, two of the best wrestlers. Benoit of the past generation because he looked over like 40 something, and Punk was of the new generation because he was like 20 or 30 at the time that he started. Well, I didn't get to watch the pay-per-view, but I had heard the news of John Morrison took the title from CM Punk, and I was thinking, wasn't Punk's opponent supposed to be Chris Benoit, his opponent for the pay-per-view? I believe it wasn't until the Monday after Vengeance where I had heard the news of Benoit's passing. And I was thinking, what happened? I mean, Benoit, because at the first time that they announced it, there was no real evidence fitting the claim or fitting what caused his death. Um, but Benoit, it, I saw the Monday show, the Raw on Monday, the Raw that will never be aired again. I believe they actually don't acknowledge this episode ever. And I think that's what actually is keeping. I think they actually removed that episode from the memory bank, so that episode doesn't technically count as an episode of Raw. Um, Benoit was again a great entertainer. What he lacked on the mic, he made up for with sheer aggression. It wasn't until ECW, well, it was like sometime, it was like right before ECW was about to air, with Chris Benoit, where Vince McMahon came out on TV and went, from this day forth, we will never mention Chris Benoit again. And I thought to myself, why won't they mention him? Why will they never mention Benoit again? I mean, what happened? Now, I didn't watch the news that much back then. I still don't watch much of it now. But I can't remember when it was. I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday where I found out what had happened, where Chris had strangled his wife and suffocated his son, and then hung himself with the weight system. And I couldn't believe it. Benoit really, it shook me up pretty bad to think that a guy, who probably was a nice guy, to pass away like that, to just simply, and to die the way that he did, it really kind of, I couldn't believe it. I still to this day cannot believe what had happened with Benoit. But then, I'd come to realize, and again, people go, oh, it was steroids and blah 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 blah, and he took all these drugs and his mind, and he snapped and he, strangled his wife and suffocated his son, and then, once that snap had, been cooled down, he realized what he did and hung himself. Um, I honestly still don't believe that with the steroids, because Benoit was always known for that diving headbutt of his, and not to mention he had the surgery on his neck, where his shoulder, I can't remember what happened, but he shattered his shoulder and it went into the column of his spine. Well, Benoit had, since Benoit did all those diving headbutts all the time, and apparently Benoit actually, he didn't fake them, he landed those headbutts. And landing the ways that he did, I think really, really damaged his brain. And I think that's what because drugs can't cause your brain to be that of an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient. That would have to take serious freaking brain damage to end up like that. And Benoit had brain damage from doing stuff like this, and having to do this every week. And to the people who go, oh, Benoit should not be remembered, he's an asshole, killed his wife and kid. With me, Benoit should be remembered, not for that, but as the wrestler Chris Benoit, not as Christopher Michael Benoit, but we should remember him as Chris Benoit, the Rabid Wolverine. And I mean, one of the other problems with this, I understand that they don't want to make references to him anymore. Yet why was it at Night of Champions when the triple threat match happened between Triple H, John Cena, and Randy Orton? Why did Triple H use the crossface? He could have used any other submission, yet he used the crossface. I mean, Daniel Bryan makes sense because his isn't necessarily a crippler crossface, But what Triple H did was a crippler crossface. And I thought that you weren't allowed to mention Benoit. And that kind of shows that when the time comes, they will mention him, where nobody even remembers who he is, nobody even acknowledges who he is. But I bet you there will be some that will. But again, Benoit will always be remembered as, from most people, Benoit will be remembered as the guy who killed, as the wrestler who killed his wife and kid and then killed himself. And that's the sad thing, because Benoit should not be remembered like that. If you're a wrestling fan, you should acknowledge him not as the man himself, but the wrestler, as Chris Benoit. But again, everybody has their own opinions. So yeah, I hope you guys understand that this video was a sign of respect for Benoit. Rest in peace, Nancy and Daniel Benoit. Both of you need to deserve that rest after what had happened. I don't know where Chris is, honestly. I know killing yourself is a sin, but I don't know, because he wasn't in control of his actions. I don't know if he's up there or down there. I don't know. So yeah, guys, this was Shockfactor 22, and this was my respect video for Chris Benoit. Peace.